Good evening, everyone, and welcome to our broadcast tonight. This is the Link to the Past Randomizer League Open Division. This is We Need a Mentor versus the Mire Straits, both teams with playoff aspirations in the Tower of Hera division. Shkoople is... Okay, and we're off. With me, I'm Vortex of Doom. I'm sorry. With me today is Zeke Highwind. How are you doing, Zeke?
Doing well, Vortex. Good to be with you. And it looks like we've got one of each route here. One Tank Start, one Uncle route.
Yeah. Honestly, I find in AD keys the opening doesn't matter a whole lot because you end up full clearing a lot of the light world anyway, just looking for dark world access because there are so many other things just in the pool that can kind of clog things up. So, both runners, we find the hook shot on Uncle. So Logic getting rewarded for the early trip to Hyrule Castle.
And Lost Woods so far has not paid off very well.
Yeah,
looks like cash. Our tier 1 tree pull was single rupees to me.
But our bush crabs do have big 20s, which is definitely nice. I expect we'll see both runners pick up a couple of those.
Now, we're playing all Dungeon Key Sandy today, so everyone's favorite game of looking for individual items that can be anywhere, there's about 6 of those in the seat.
Yeah, the big offenders are often the Ice Rod, as per usual, the Castle Tower small keys, which together they really only one locks the second, and the second locks exactly one location, which is the Lumberjack ledge that Logic is probably about to look at here. Swamp Small, it locks all of Swamp Palace, but if that's a pendant or, if there's nothing important in Swamp, that can be a while. As we see just some rupees.
Oh, speaking of that Swamp Small.
No hunt for that today. But Lumberjack isn't going to be necessary.
That's always a good feeling when you find nothing there.
Yeah, even if it is... often in AD keys, you kind of hope it's an Aga Seed for Dark World access, just so you don't have to search for those keys. But when you can do that at your leisure without having to worry about how to route in Lumberjack, that's definitely nice.
I think Logic is trying to pick up a tier 2 tree pull here.
Well, Shkoople checking out Blind's Hut. Now, full disclosure, I do have a rooting interest in this. I am unabashedly rooting for Logic. Shkoople is my teammate, and right now I do not have a better record than him. And it would be cool if that changed. So, Logic.
I also thought you were also rooting for Shkoople because you have a vested interest in playoffs here.
But well, I mean,
that too.
Playoffs are temporary. Bragging rights over your teammate are forever. So,
valid point.
And Logic gonna be retracing Shkoople's footsteps here as we find a sword in the well.
Early swords are always... and boots.
Oh, and the boots. So I expect that we'll see Shkoople go clean up the castle with that sword and boots pretty quickly.
There's our first
try to hold... Yeah, with the cape, boots, a sword, you can get almost everything in the castle. Well, you can get actually everything right from the get-go. So that's... a pretty friendly Kakariko to begin with here.
And real quick, while we're getting the last couple of checks, let's give a quick shout out to Akir as well, our tracker, who gets to keep track of all of these keys for us.
Yeah, tracking in 80 keys, any key sanity mode, is a monstrous task, and Akir's keeping us honest.
Sick kid just giving us a giant pile of money. Which at this point in the game is useful.
Yeah, definitely not something you'll say no to.
10 arrows on the library? You'll say no to that instead.
I don't know. You can carry all those arrows. I might have picked them up. It's pretty reckless from Shkoople here. As Logic picks up his boots. I might have picked up those 20 rupees too. Looking at Zora money. Be pretty nice. Just any little bit helps. Though I guess there are the bush crabs, so never mind.
Yeah, bush crabs I think outweigh that 20 this time.
Yeah. Nice water dash from Shkoople there. Getting a little bit of slowdown just to have a little more time to think.
Same with the bonk.
In all seriousness, though, 80 Keys is a mode that's all about execution and efficiency, and having time to think about your next move can kind of be a luxury because there's always something you can be doing in an 80 Keys seed. So definitely a lot to... I didn't catch that small key.
That was our first pod small.
Okay.
Pod smalls are a very useful thing to find early, because the more of them you have, the fewer trips through pod you have to take.
Yeah. Both runners will definitely want to limit their trips to pod and take, have as many keys as they can before going there. You can't put it off too long, though. There's a lot of checks there and correspondingly a lot of stuff. We see Shkoople heading to Agina early, which isn't something everyone does. It doesn't get... It's in 80 keys, you kind of assume you're going to be full clearing the game. So it makes sense to route it in when you can.
I'm especially a fan of it early in this case, where we had the early Pegasus boots.
Yeah, when I have the boots, so I'll usually go to Agina at the beginning of an 80 keys regardless, but I will I'll scout the desert ledge if I have the boots, but without I don't bother. Shkoople didn't bother either way. Makes sense because if you can't get the item, might as well not bother. Logic showing a much better dash alongside that pond there. Well done.
Logic also getting to clip through the block to get the chest as he visited Uncle at the start. On that topic of the desert ledge, Shkoople also hasn't gone for the early visible items with Lumberjack either, so it's not surprising he wouldn't have gone for the desert ledge as well.
Shkoople gonna have to release that fairy, I think he realizes, in order to death warp. But when doing this escape sequence, I expect we'll see him head probably to Dark Cross next, and maybe check out the chest in Castle Tower if he feels comfortable with that in the dark after this.
Logic finding our mushroom. Mini Motorhome Cave's most valuable item is a mushroom today.
Yeah, and the precise value of that mushroom does remain to be seen. So,
although you can still place some value on the first Skullwood small you find, because the first one always makes it easier to route. It's the next two that are kind of letdowns.
Yeah, agreed. Having a Skullwood's small key before you have to go to Skullwoods definitely definitely does help, because if you want to get those items in the front, you might have to drop down if you don't have a key, or steal a key, and then...
That is a good place for the Eastern Big Key.
Yeah, before he's taken a trip over there. Getting it early is really nice.
Logic is setting up a water walk, I think. Did he set up the water walk? No, he's just doing a big flipper, it looks like.
I believe he did. He might be setting up a double water walk. So you can store a water walk. He might also just use the water walk to get back from Hobo instead of getting to Hobo. However, if he decides that he's going to get a... if he gets the fake flipper away from Hobo first try, as he got the fake flipper on the way first try, you can store a water walk with the Moon Pearl and get the Zora Ledge item.
Believe it or not,
but
that 5 rupee is amazing luck for Logic here. Because I can get the Zora right away.
Yeah, I totally am on board with him, just assuming he'll get a couple more rupees at some point, and we see a key on Lake Hylia Island. A couple more rupees in one of the 3 checks he does, otherwise you farm a little bit. Meanwhile, Shkoople on the way to Mini Moldorm Cave. And we didn't see Aga Tower from Shkoople.
Aga Tower is also a pretty large time investment for 2 items, one of which isn't logical at the moment.
Yeah, neither is Dark Cross, which I believe he did. I don't think we saw anything there. I was a little too busy watching Logic. But, one thing is that Shkoople might be guessing that this could be an Aga Seed. If you get those Castle Tower keys early, it can just that can be your Dark World access, and banking on not double dipping the tower or waiting on lamp even.
I think Logic is on the way to Agina's Cave right now.
I think he's doing a fake flipper to turn in the mushroom.
That actually... I forget that this Whirlpool's here myself.
Possibly with a mind to save scum it. Yeah, early fetch quests are very often lead to progression. So I think checking them out early, especially when you're a couple items from Dark World access, regardless, you're at least a Castle Tower Small and the lamp, or a glove and a hammer, or 2 gloves. You're 2 items, no matter how you look at it. And Logic will be resetting.
I do like the reset on the early mushroom, because that will let us get the fake powder for Magic Bat when we get Arcane.
Mm-hmm. We'll need Mitts and Mirror as well as Hammer to do that. Ooh, and Logic heading over to the eastern area. Leoria in chat bringing up a good point, not picking up the map to take a look to see what it is. If that's a Light World dungeon, Logic could have gotten the info from it and reset. It is all dungeons, Key Sanity. You will be doing every dungeon. Maps are not terribly important.
Sasrala lost his family heirloom in the Tower of Hera. That's our second Mega Tower small key. We could be seeing a lamp here shortly.
Yeah, and if I were a betting man, I would guess we'll be seeing a lamp here in either eastern area or maybe that first chest of Castle Tower. I've seen it there before, and it's always pretty funny when it is.
Alright, I missed it the first time, but it looks like just a map on the Zora's Ledge.
Yeah, definitely not something worth coming back for. Another pod small.
Pod smalls make sense at this point, because if Aga's looking likely, which it is, then going to pod is a logical next step when we don't have a glove.
Shkoople heading this way to mushroom. What I think probably happened here, because he does know, like I've seen him do that fake flipper. I think he was going to go to Eastern and then remembered the mushroom.
I've been guilty of that before. What about you?
Oh, definitely. Not much slower, but he will probably get the map. Let's see if he picks it up to see what it is. He probably won't. Oh, prove me wrong. Oh, Tower of Hera. Well, Logic made a savvy move. Shkoople not going to save Scum.
And there's the lamp. We have a potential Agaseed right here.
Yeah, so Shkoople, well, I think it is an Agaseed. I don't think we'll see either runner waste any more time before going to Castle Tower. Logic missing that big chest because he hasn't done Front of Escape yet. Will be finding that Eastern big key and feeling maybe a little bummed out about that. Yeah, it wasn't likely that we found Lamp in the big chest of Eastern, since we haven't found that Hyrule Castle small. Oh no!
Right there.
That's going to be really, really bad. So Shkoople's going to clear Eastern here. It's not going to be in Logic without the Hyrule Yeah, it's not going to be in Logic without the Hyrule Castle small, but that is that's going to feel bad. We have seen a check of Lumberjack. It's just 50 rupees, I think.
I thought it was 10 arrows, but either way, not worth grabbing.
Logic, just grabbing some magic. This is a very heads-up play. Since you need to use that cape to get into Castle Tower, you need to make sure you have the magic for it.
Man, French vanilla bow. That's one of the worst feeling things to find. Because I know a few people who would skip Eastern to get a bow. Not in 80 keys, mind you, but I know some people who skip it until they get a bow.
Yeah. Yeah, in 80 keys, that kind of skip is you can't count on making it. But yeah, vanilla bows. See, that vanilla bow probably felt good until he gets the Eastern big key in Zelda's cell.
Logic,
now, if
setting up the Death Warp here, he drops his fairy when he did the mushroom.
If there is, if the mirror is somewhere in pod, ooh, he forgot that he save scummed the fairy, save scummed the mushroom, so getting rid of it didn't hold. But if he finds the mirror sometime soon, that'll be a pretty minimal time loss. It'll be another trip through the first few rooms of Eastern, but nothing too punishing if he gets it somewhere in pod or on Pyramid Ledge, Castle Tower somewhere.
So we mentioned earlier there are several items that tend to go missing in these seeds, and we found 3 of the ones we'd mentioned.
Yeah, the only often terrible offender that we haven't found is actually the ice rod, which is, that's pretty big.
The other thing I'd say we are missing that could be big is GT Big Key. Likes to hide a lot too.
Mm-hmm. That's true. That can be almost anywhere because it locks, 6 checks in the whole game, or 5 checks.
And that depends on if we need to climb GT to get, say, a pendant Big Key.
Right.
Which has happened before in these runs. And Shkoople in 20 minutes is on our first boss fight. Ooh, Logic taking a death outside that check.
Yeah, it's risky to take the Death Warp early. And we are seeing Logic skip Zelda's cell, which we know that he cannot do. That's going to be a last location already.
That is unfortunate. And Shkoople gets the first item, the first dungeon clear of the game.
Yeah, and Eastern is a crystal, so luckily for Logic, he will have to go back to Zelda's cell before GT. I expect we'll see him routed in with a trip there sometime after he finds the Hyrule Castle Small, because in his mind it's not in Logic until he finds that key.
And with those last 2 checks in Aga Tower, we have confirmed this is an Aga Seed. I mean, we basically knew that, but...
Yeah, it was hard for it to be anything else. Interestingly, the only checks we have are Pyramid Ledge and Pod. And just the front at that, too, logically speaking.
It's 3 keys to get anything in key doors.
So with the bow, we can get the 2 chests on Bowlocked side. With 1 key, we can get the front 2 chests that aren't on Bowlocked side, the Arena Bridge and Stalfos Basement. So we're down to 5 checks in Logic, and both of our runners are going to pick them up. Without a glove, hammer, or flippers, we can't actually get to West Dark World.
Has either runner checked Bonk Rocks?
Actually, no, we have not checked Bonk Rocks.
Shoutouts to Akir for pointing that one out.
Yeah, it was mentioned a little earlier, but yeah, it had totally slipped my mind by this point.
Well, I guess we can play one of our favorite games, can't we?
Yeah, Aga 1 has a set pattern where he can fire the first attack of every cycle will be one that you can deflect. Then he'll have 3 in a row that are either a blue ball or one you can deflect, and it's a 50-50 chance. And the last one will be lightning. So we can try to guess how many blue balls we're going to get. It can be anywhere from 1 to 15, since you need, or 0 to 15, since you need 6 hits to kill him, and at that point you're guaranteed enough.
I know it's a little late here, but I am going to guess that we're going to have about 4. And we're at 2 already.
Nice hook speed from Shkoople there.
It looks like I was wrong, by the way, because we cannot get another one in this round. So the correct answer for the blue ball game is.
Ooh, well,
it will be 3 for assuming. Okay, it's still 3. That hookshot iframe just messed him up.
Ooh, and Logic also does not have pod money. Have to pick that up.
So what do you do in this situation when you don't have pod money?
I think if I'm Logic, I go check Bonk Rocks and do a Houlihan.
Or even Bonk Rocks and go to a money crab.
Yeah. Actually, yeah, there's probably a... Well, the one by Lumberjack Tree is not there after you've killed Aga.
Right. It gets moved around.
The one by the Death Mountain start might be there. Tucked in the tree.
It is not. I know that for a fact.
Okay, so yeah. I think Houlihan is the answer unless these are flippers, and that would be bad. Okay, so that's 3 pod smalls.
I'm not sure.
Oh, the south one, Logic. That is a rupee crab. This one is not here. Oh, there's money in the tree as well. Logic, get it. You've killed Aga. Just get the money.
I think it's arrows.
Oh, is it? I thought it was a 50. I think it must be money if he's going back to it.
The worst thing that could have happened to Shkoople is getting hit there, because he would not have had the money to finish off. Right. Logic still needs 10 more rupees here.
Yeah, and unfortunately he doesn't seem to know about the rupee crab that's in the trees there. There should still be one in the Lost Woods. Okay. Well, is there? Yeah, there is. Okay, so this will be Logic's pod money. This feels bad, but it's not. Okay. Not much in pod so far.
On the bright side for Logic, he did pick up one more small key for this dungeon.
Yeah, and that will probably reward him with 1 extra check, because I don't think... We're probably not going to get the hammer and the big key. So we'll probably be seeing either vanilla big key chest or harmless Hellwave from Logic. Get our second sword, something we would have loved to see before Aga. Which doesn't open up anything.
And with no hammer, the fastest way to get back there is a death warp in this case. No hammer and no Mire. Alright, Logic, don't get hit.
Luckily at 5 hearts green mail, that death warp was pretty easy, so... Okay. Okay, and there's the fourth pod small we need to put. So Logic actually will have the opportunity to save Scum a key and save Scum a key and check both of them. Hera small. That, fun fact, that is Shkoople's favorite place in the whole world. So I bet we'll be seeing him check that. Okay, and there are the flippers. So that is access to... Oh, wow. Okay, so never mind. Logic will not need to save Scum. And Shkoople will. He might not even bother. He might just say, you know what? I think I will... I will find another pod small. And I wouldn't blame him at all for saying that. Now that he has 4. Wow.
Two pod smalls. And I think it's 2 pod smalls in vanilla checks. I'm not 100% on the key placements in pod anymore. But.
Yeah, I can't remember which one. I never go there in vanilla because I do the trick that Shkoople's doing here, the hammer yump. I think we'll see both runners probably do that. It's a staple in Key Sanity because you can get these checks without having to use a key to open the door.
Exactly.
And yeah, I would be surprised if Shkoople didn't take another Death Warp and check that chest.
The good thing is Death Warp is easy in the pod maze.
Yeah, those Kodongos do a full heart of damage regardless of your mail, so definitely a good thing to remember. And so that key advantage for Shkoople is not, or for Logic is not going to come into play here. Given that there were 2 smalls. Okay, so as long as there's nothing in Stalfos' basement, Shkoople is safe to reset, but he's not even going to bother. He's going to find another pod small somewhere. Mad lad, I tell you.
I mean, we know where he's going to find it.
Yeah, I mean, we know that there is literally 0 risk for that play, but Shkoople tends to play with confidence that the things he needs will show up, which, you know, given how Rando works, is not surprising.
Again, 2 pod smalls in pod in Key Sanity is absurd.
And yeah, this way to access the Dark World, the Village of Outcasts area, is something that gets overlooked a lot. The first time you run into a seed that requires you take that path, it can be really confusing.
Luckily, these are both experienced runners who should be able to remember that.
Yeah, I don't think either of them will be caught off guard by that little quirk. Logic, unlike... Wait. Is that a big key?
Big key on bumper ledge. We cannot get it without the glove.
Oh, that's right. Okay. Shkoople... I was about to make fun of Shkoople because Logic, unlike Shkoople, knew when he was in pod that he didn't have the big key. And didn't check the big chest. But Shkoople, unlike me, did remember that you need a glove to access bumper ledge, so joke's on me.
Don't you love doing this room without a Cane of Samaria?
It's not the worst. It's pretty bad, though.
Especially when you only have 6 hearts in green mail, because Gibdos really hurt. A lot.
Shkoople making it to that Wallmaster just under the wire. So yeah, both runners will have exactly 2 checks in pod left, and as soon as Shkoople remembers to go to Bonk Rocks, he will. Which actually, I find it curious that he didn't check that in Lumberjack before heading back to the Dark World. You know, just in case, since he had to do a save and quit. But yeah, so both runners have all the keys they need to finish pod, or will.
I don't see a problem with him still skipping the information, because it's another save and quit if he did do that. And also at this point, with the pod small, it wouldn't have given him anything new at this point anyways. There's our hammer.
Yeah, that's a great find. Logic will also definitely get that. I'm more surprised because, you know, going to the pyramid and going across to West Dark World, Logic does remember he has to go this way.
It is such a force of habit to go up that way first, though.
You know, you're not going to check that stuff with the mirror if, you know, because you're going and you're checking all the stuff that you checked with the mirror right then and there. So, yeah, I don't know. Certainly not a bad play and not one that'll punish him very hard because he's not in any hurry to go back to pod. There's our big key to Swamp. So, all we're missing for Swamp Palace access is actually the mirror. Can full clear Swamp.
I like the randomized prize on that better than the actual prize was.
Yeah, it's definitely. I think I saw Azure farm money by just redoing chest game. Just went there an extra time to get the money he needed for Sora or a potion, or I can't remember what it was. Maybe it was Dig Game, actually. Meanwhile, Shkoople checking out the front 4 of Thieves Town as Logic is about to get his hammer.
These 4 checks are so free, they're basically overworld.
Yeah, so a pretty linear seed so far. Not really a whole lot of room for divergence. The only big opportunity for divergence, as Logic gets that hammer just in the nick of time before he takes a second tick of damage from that Gibdo. The only bit of divergence is that Logic went to Eastern before Escape and didn't have the Eastern Big Key, which he still hasn't gotten. And given that we didn't see anything on Armos or in the big chest, he's not going to get funneled into that very quickly.
I love seeing the different formations people use to do Dig Game, and this one is taking forever.
Yeah, not a small number of digs, and we get a small key. Is it one we want? We'll take it, I guess.
We usually get so many of those. We have a pendant. Does that say a pendant on Turtle Rock? That's interesting.
That sound. Wait, did we see a map check?
It looks like Shkoople may have done a map check because we've got a pendant marked on.
Oh. Well,
it might have been a misclick.
Yeah, it might have been a misclick. Vanilla Shovel. Unfortunately, no mirror to check it at the vanilla time.
So, as a matter of preference, what is your thoughts? I mean, we saw Shkoople skip, but what are your thoughts on visiting the bomb shop to get your red crystal info?
I'll usually do it. It's faster than extra pausing or a map check, but if you menu from time to time anyway, you can just check whether you've gotten the red crystals at that point, so it's not a huge time loss.
Well,
yeah, there it is. So I think we'll see Shkoople head right back to check Cave 45 and that shovel.
The worst part is, if there's not a... Well, here's a check on the crystals, since he's gotta go back this way anyways. Pod and Mire.
Okay.
The bad news is, if we don't find the... We have a Mire. We have the keys. Shkoople's going to Swamp right now.
Yeah, I like it a lot. It seems like probably the likeliest place he'll find a glove, and if he finds a glove, he can go north through Cave 45 and... Well, he might grab that key off Lake Hylia Island after Swamp.
Which would make sense if he has a glove, because then he can just start check bonk rocks, and then go through to the Warp World town. If you don't have a glove, it's a little harder sell.
Yeah. Although with the hammer, we have much easier access to this area than they did right after killing Aga. And there's the flute. So maybe we won't see a trip to Lake Hylia Island. We have the Hera Small. There's not another small key that you'd really want, with no gloves before heading to the mountain. Oh, and there's a glove. So
the swamp is already loaded.
Yeah, if that's all we got out of here, I don't think Shkoople would be at all disappointed with a full clear. So right now we're looking for a lot of stuff. We finally, at 40 minutes in, have normal Dark World access after clearing a solid portion of the Dark World overworld.
You could not have found a better place for Mire today, though.
That's true. Imagine if Mire was at shovel spot or something obnoxious like that, and you have to go dig that up, go back down south by Hype Cave and near check Cave 45. That would have been obnoxious.
Right, Heart stun prize. Stun prize is hearts, which is good because otherwise he had 2 hearts to do a bomb diver.
Yeah, bad things can happen, especially when you have low health doing bomb diver down.
Always got to remember there's a chance you need to move a pixel or 2 to the left to get off that ledge. Logic takes his digging lessons from me. Just dig in straight lines until you find it. Second try bomber down is good for Shkoople. He will now be picking up left side swamp. A check that even in 80 key sanity tends to get skipped, although not usually at this early.
Yeah, it's pretty rare to be able to confidently skip left side swamp. good thing. Oh, good thing we didn't. Not necessarily that we need either of the things we found there, but they're both better to find before you go to those places with the Hera big and the TR small. Better to find them early than late.
That Hera big is actually a pretty useful find because it means you don't have to double dip if there's something in the big chest, because both of these runners without that key will have done a Hera pot.
Yeah. I think that was a given, especially with it being the green pendant and, you know, an extra check up there. You're not going to hold out for the big key.
But that absolutely makes the mountain enticing right now.
Yeah, I think
7 items on the tower, if we include the green pendant, and 7 items in the Paradox Cave.
Yeah, I'm going to retract my earlier prediction that Shkoople might think about the Lake Hylia Island. He might, you know, do that and then go back to just jump out, go back to Dark World. But I think he'll do Cave 45 and the shovel on his way to activate that flute and then head straight to Death Mountain.
This game is really challenging these runners with low HP Swamp Palace, though. 6 heart green mail is not a comfortable health amount for this.
Yeah. Unfortunately, not a sword to be found either, which Master Sword Argus is, I think, one of the fights that Argus is one of the fights that takes the biggest jump between Master and Tempered Sword.
Did Logic make it in the dungeon? Okay, good.
Okay.
That will have been intentional, I believe, because he had half a heart.
Yeah. Better to die early than deeper in.
At least I have a Master Sword for this fight.
Yeah, though I think doing it with fighter spins would probably be faster. And grabbing them one at a time and slashing them twice. But, you know, slow and steady. It's definitely safer and easier to do it this way. So.
And this early, well, for one, at 6 hearts, I would absolutely take the safer strat on this one.
Yeah, it definitely not worth taking a death.
Because if you have full hearts going into this fight right now, you can take 2 hits before you die.
Yeah. You die on the 3rd hit, to be clear. That's what you meant, but...
Yes, you are a 3-hit knockout.
Okay, and Shkoople heading... Oh, he is going to get... okay.
I think he forgot he got a glove there. To be fair, that was the beginning of the dungeon, and it's easy to forget that.
Very true. Find a key in Cave 45. Another GT small, so we can now full clear GT. Key-wise, if we take the right path, but we hope we don't have to open any of the chests in the basement, much less all of them.
There's another small key.
Yet another extraneous one.
I believe I mentioned the other 2 Skullwoods keys are letdowns. The only other dungeon where you get 3 small keys, and the only one you enjoy seeing is the first small key, would be Misery Mire.
Yeah, and you use them pretty much the same way, although you don't get soft locked in Mire by not having any keys. So
That's true. Nick, the reason I still say Mire's a good one is because it does clean up the route so much to have that key.
It really does.
It is so much easier to just go straight to the Firelock section. And Shkoople awakens the duck.
It's fluting straight somewhere. It's probably Death Mountain. Yep.
I don't blame him. I do like the swamp open. Ooh. I think Logic may have dashed a bit too far there. I'm not sure he intended to jump off.
Yep, that's the risk of doing the right side first, is you want to dash back to the middle. Ideally, it shouldn't matter, actually, but...
It is funny that the first two checks of swamp opened the mountain in the two ways it opens.
Yeah, they had the lamp, so the glove put it in logic, but before that, the flute already had it in logic. Shkoople heading up the western side of Death Mountain first, because he cannot wait to get to his favorite place in the world, in Hera Basement.
I cannot tell if that is a rod. That is the fire rod.
Shkoople, it doesn't matter which rod that is. You don't need to double check. You know it's a rod. You need it. And he's going to wait to do it after Hera because he doesn't want to try the bomb jump across that pit. And it's definitely faster to do it after than to climb again.
I'd be inclined to agree.
Also, he still really wants to get to his favorite place in the world.
I cannot tell if you're being sarcastic.
No, Shkoople is infamous for skipping Hera Basement, and honestly, I doubt we'll see him do it here. You know, he's in the dungeon, he has all the keys, there's no possible reason for him to return. So yeah, he's gonna do it. But yeah, he does not like doing this check.
I like to imagine that was an angry Slash that he has to even bother checking this. This is a more interactive way of dealing with the tile room.
Yep, anything to stave off the boredom.
I think we only ever see 2 tile rooms actually complete in the randomizer, as Logic takes on Argus.
Quick map check from Shkoople.
I'm guilty of getting my fingers stuck on the X button when trying to hit that Y button. I'm a little surprised we're going to climb, but
I mean, with it, contrary to popular belief, it only saves probably less than 10 seconds to do Herapot with checking the chests. Dropping down and checking them, it gives a lot of the time saving back. As well, Shkoople is still on 3 hearts, green mail right now, has 2 bombs, and I happen to know he does bomb Herapot instead of hook speed. So, you know, if he failed once, he's at 1 heart. It's just
I am once again
easier
guilty.
to climb.
I am once again guilty of forgetting that bomb Herapot is a thing.
Yeah, when you have boots, I think it's definitely the inferior option. But it does take a little time to learn, and it can be finicky, especially with different controller setups.
Moldorm 1, Shkoople 0.
He has to be careful here because without doing Harapot, you have to hit the switch to get the refill hearts. So Shkoople's on 2 hearts from our friend Moldorm here. But he's going to use the cape and not fall again. Okay. That is Shkoople's green pendant. And the other rod. So, pretty friendly seed so far, barring a pendant, Mire, or TR medallion.
I was going to say, it's been pretty friendly, except for the fact we had to climb a tower to get to the Dark World.
Yeah, well, and in 80 keys where you have to climb that tower anyway, giving you boots to do that with, letting you do that early instead of making you last locate that second key, like, I think an Aga seed for Dark World access is a little recontextualized in the mindset of 80 keys.
It is really funny that we get both rods in back-to-back pickups.
Yeah.
Okay.
Shkoople is going to clean up Lumberjack and Bonkrox here. I think one thing that he really does not want to find
is the cane.
Well, I was going to say after going to is the mitts.
Oh yeah, the mitts.
If you go over to that, okay, he's forgotten about Bonkrox entirely. So be on the lookout for that 6th pod small, because I think that will be Shkoople's 5th at this point. Would be a non-issue if he had save scummed that key for the 20 rupees in vanilla big key chest, but or maybe he remembers and is going back now. Yeah, I think he does.
I will say that if he found mitts, it would have made sense to go to Bonkrox after, anyways, because he'd then route to Kingston.
Yeah.
And he did not know what was on Lumberjack at the time.
That's true. He didn't pre-check it. So that's the last key Shkoople will need to clear pod. Gonna check back of escape with that glove and get these checks all the way out of the way for good.
Oh yeah, back of escape is actually open to us. The glove showed up.
I think we may have actually seen... I think Logic may have done this. As I wasn't paying attention.
With how unremarkable it is, I wouldn't be surprised. That was unfortunately empty.
So, with that fire rod, I think Shkoople is opting to skip out and do the rest of Skull Woods, hoping maybe to get those mitts and put... Okay, never mind. He remembers he hasn't done the other side of the mountain. Or remembers he has the flute. I don't know if it's actually faster anymore at that point when you're that close to Kakariko to flute. But,
So here's our first major route divergence then. Well, second major route divergence.
Yeah, so for those coming in late, the big difference, you'll see Shkoople has Eastern Palace done. The big key was in Zelda's Cell. The lamp was in Eastern to be logical Aga access. And Shkoople had done Escape before heading to Eastern and had that big key. Logic went to Escape after Eastern and died trying to get it. So it's unknown when he's going to be able to get back to Zelda's Cell. But yeah, we're getting new checks from Logic here. Big key to Desert. Small key to Thieves. That is a nice thing to find before the big key.
And now we see what's in the back of Skull Woods. other than a moth in a stupid room.
Yeah.
I apologize. I am very quick to voice my displeasure with Mothula.
I mean, Moth is definitely one of the. Oh, and there we find the other key to Desert. So as soon as we find Mitts or Book for logical access to Desert, we can full clear it. We have the boots, we have both keys, or knowledge of both keys. Neither runner has both, but both soon will, I think.
I would imagine it would have been easier to check Spectacle Rock after going to Hera Logic.
Yep, I would agree.
Especially when you're jumping down. Although, actually, I know what Logic's doing here. And I don't hate it.
He may well be checking Spike Cave after Hera, or setting up.
I think he's checking Spike Cave with the magic refill from Moldorm.
Yeah, I think that's... Well, I think if he does it before Hera, I don't entirely agree with it. Oh, and Moth is a pendant. So those two... We didn't get anything notable, I don't think. Yeah, just some bombs. Checking on the replay.
Yeah. So if Logic checks Hera first, I like this play. And the Mire tells me he's going to Hera first.
Yeah, having both checks taken care of. Though I'm not entirely sure why. I guess maybe you go right side first, hoping for the book to just clean up this side of the mountain forever. But yeah, if you're rooting for Logic here, I think you do hope something will be in Spike Cave, because I think he was very much setting up to check it.
Shkoople is picking up that graveyard ledge key. Excuse me, bumper ledge key. There are too many ledges up here.
I think we'll probably be seeing the graveyard ledge in King's Tomb as well. Now, if this is the Thieves' Town Big, do you think Shkoople goes straight and clears it before going anywhere on Eastern Death Mountain and finding that small key?
Absolutely. I absolutely think this.
Yeah, I tend to as well. Oh, but no, it's just our completely necessary GT Big key. So that's... I think that's...
Is that our last Ice Road hunt?
Yeah,
what in the world? Logic?
He activated hook speed and is...
I didn't even know you could do that in there.
Yeah, it's a silly treat, actually.
That was enjoyable.
Wow, that's wild to watch. But yeah, so and there is the book, and that will be desert access. So I would be on high alert for mitts in desert at this point, because we're running out of places those mitts can be.
I would hate to see. There's another case for Shkoople where he may double dip that dungeon.
I don't think he'll go to desert before the right side of Death Mountain. Like, I think he'll head back up there, try to find the mitts early. Where are you headed? Catfish, maybe. Catfish. That's my guess. He's not going to leave any orphans. Shkoople's been playing quite thorough so far. Getting everything he can. He pretty savvy move on his part to avoid Castle Tower, having one key in the cape already, guessing this might be an Agaseed. I'll have to go there eventually. And getting rewarded for it with a single dip. Yeah, I think we see Catfish here. And then he might come back to Lake Hylia Island, but I think we see him go back up the mountain.
So on top of Catfish, what's your favorite item to give him as an offering?
I usually give that top rock. If I don't have boots, I'll give the bush on the higher ledge because you move faster after jumping off with it. But with boots, it's faster to do a quick hop. Oh, and we will see an unfortunate double dip from Shkoople. No. Okay, wait. Okay, no, we're just checking the desert ledge. Cool.
I think he just checked desert ledge for mitts and then went back up down.
I think that's 100% the only thing that he would have gone into desert there for. But yeah, so Shkoople's going to get his desert big key, and I think that'll be his next stop. He'll probably route in Bombo's tablet. Well, no, he might wait on Bombo's tablet, but or he might not.
I actually think where he has to have the book out anyways, it'd be a convenient use to go to Bombo's tablet. Oh, we're not getting Spike Cave because we're getting Spiral Cave.
Yeah, so I'm not the biggest fan of the efficiency of this routing from Logic. I think, you know, he's gone across Death Mountain 3 times now, whereas Shkoople has gone across Death Mountain exactly once. And it was just now to get there. So Logic went across to get to Hera, came back across to get to... So went across to get Paradox, came back across on the top to get Hera, and then back across to get Spiral Cave. And so I think if you're going to split up the mountain, like if you have Mirror and Hookshot both, even with Hammer, I think I just split the mountain into 2 trips. If you're looking for more value out of Hera area, you do Paradox and Spiral first. But if you're looking to maybe have mitts to do Eastern Death Mountain, you do
Silvers.
Hera first. Oh, Silvers on Saha. Nice find. You know, it'll save Logic a little time when he finally gets that Eastern big.
The Silvers on Saha, they're at this point in the game, they are basically most helpful for Vitreous, Ganon, and possibly Armos.
They're a small time save on Landmo if either of our runners choose to use them. I doubt Shkoople will.
Well, we thought Logic was going to be first check Spike Cave, but no. It's Shkoople.
Yeah, this doesn't surprise me much because Shkoople went back. He got that book and wanted to check Ether Tablet, and now Spike Cave is the last thing. Oh my lord, that was close. What?
Oh, what? I'd be upset.
Oh man.
I'm absolutely upset right now.
Do you think he goes back for that?
That's baloney is what that is.
Oh man.
And no, I think both runners orphan that for the next while. I have never seen that before. Have you?
I haven't seen being able to take the input for the bottle and still taking the death. That's sure something. But yeah, this makes sense from Shkoople. He has a full clearable crystal dungeon. I might have grabbed a potion just to have full magic to not have to fight it with stupid Master Sword, but yeah, he's just going to pick up all the magic pots on the way, which is probably a little more time efficient.
And McMonkey's right in the chat. There's no point in going back right away. We don't have the magic to grab it anyways.
Yeah, so I think this makes a lot of sense, though. The potion shop is just as close. Okay, that's 3 GT smalls, so if there is a pendant dungeon big key that we're looking for in TR, it will be no problem at all to get it with 3 smalls. Or in GT. I think I said TR.
I think you said TR as well. I knew what you meant, though. I think chat might have been able to infer from it. Passing on the 300 on the torch. Understandable when you have 873 rupees. That's only our second TR small?
Nope, that is...
Oh, it's
according to the tracker, it is our third. Oh, this Logic has 2. Logic doesn't have that one, so I think...
It's a little hard to read the numbers on the tracker sometimes.
Definitely. Logic, with a pretty nice moth fight, gets his second pendant. And... yeah, it's just that Eastern behind right now, though. Desert is about soon to follow. I think Logic will likely... if he's going back through, I think he'll be heading to Graveyard Ledge and King's Tomb, maybe even Catfish next.
So what's left for possible progression here? Is it Landmos and Bombos Tablet?
Landmos, Bombos Tablet. Spike Cave is in Logic. Yeah, I think those are the places progression can be at this point. Shkoople making good use out of that hard-earned magic.
Taking down one of the 3 Landmolas.
Textbook fight from Shkoople here. But he does get the job done, and yeah, our progression is not here, although...
Are you thinking what I'm thinking?
In one more Skullwood Small I am. Technically ooh, that's a costly death from... It's not actually that costly. With the start on the pyramid, I mean, it's definitely worse to have died than to not die, but he can just leave the pyramid and come up the other way. Ooh.
In terms of that Skullwood Small Key, I just remembered something. There is one small key sitting over on an island.
Oh yeah, that's true. There is. And yeah,
I would I'd almost guess that that's going to be our Skullwood Small.
I would agree with you, and I'm sure Shkoople is at least generally aware of the fact that Moth does take 3 keys, but he has 2, and he knows where there's another key. It might be Skullwoods. He's got all 3 pendants. They're all in Logic. Yeah, pulling Ped here makes some sense. And there's a big key.
Thieves
Town.
That is a...
does have the small.
Vortex, this is a required Aga Ped seed.
Yeah, this is exciting, and
congratulations, Twitch chat.
Yeah, I don't think there's any way that Logic's path to Graveyard Ledge was faster than just dropping down the pyramid and hookshotting across. But he will be getting his book, and his book heading to Desert after this. I think I would be a little surprised running as low on checks as he is if Logic skipped Catfish here. But I think like he probably needs to start cutting some corners to make up some ground, and with the deaths he might be feeling that. So I'm kind of hoping that he does just that.
On the bright side for the runners, with that Thieves Town key where it is and the pendants where they are, there is no way you don't have both keys.
Yeah, that's true. The Thieves Town, or the Thieves Town Small, was right next to the Desert Big, which was hard required to get the Desert Big, which was required to get the Thieves Town Big. Sorry, I lost my train of thought for a second there. And that means that one more often orphaned chest will not be orphaned today. We had both Hera keys before heading to Hera. We have both Thieves Town keys and the hammer before heading to Thieves Town. So
the other big thing that ped poll does tell us is there is nothing that can be in GT.
Yeah, this is absolutely guaranteed to be a run straight up GT. Unless, if you don't find another sword, maybe you check Hope Room or the Torch or both. Since you have a couple extra keys, you just go down one and open the middle door. But I doubt that'll happen. I doubt there's. Oh, and there's the pod big.
This chain is amazing.
That's also pretty unfortunate for Logic because he has not been back to Zelda's Cell yet. Vanilla Mits. There we go.
Okay, it's official. This seed's amazing.
This is fantastic. So yeah.
Okay, the world just opened up for Shkoople. Where would you go? Pretty good blind fight for Shkoople. Went a little off script there, but I have no reason to even call that out. I can't hold the blind script at all. And it looks like Shkoople is going to go pick up a frog. Checking hammer pegs while he's here to find a big key. Very likely a required big key. And that is the Misery Mire big key. So, for our go mode, we're missing medallions. Oh, and Red Cane. I guess you do need those. You'd think I would remember that item. I thought I saw TR Big Key barked. I must have missed Fred. So we need at least one medallion, a red cane, and the TR big key. Thank you, chat, for keeping me honest.
I think it is all but confirmed at this point. And, well, so much for... So it was impossible to route in Smith Chain with Magic Bat unless you fake powdered, which doesn't seem to be very likely since Cane is one of the last things we're looking for. Shkoople might go back and clean that up immediately, but...
I would be surprised if he goes back immediately.
Yeah, I mean, I think he's going to grab that key on Lake Hylia Island. I think it is all but confirmed that that is the last Skullwood Small.
I believe logically it now has to be the Skullwood Small key.
Unless it's the last Pod Small and the last Skullwood Small is in Spike Cave. I think those are the only two options. But we're going to find out from Shkoople here as soon as he finishes this. Yeah, finishes this mirror bonk. And yeah.
So where would you go if you were Shkoople here?
Yeah, I would go finish off Helma, do the 2 checks you have left in this area because you have the green pendant and you have Helmasaur. And one is very easy to... Oh, yeah, and Pod Big Chest.
I would be surprised if he doesn't do Mire for Saha, although he might leave out of Pod to get Saha.
Nah, I think you do it on the way here. The extra Mire transition is a lot shorter than the running time, and yeah, that's what he's doing. Logic picking up his Thieves Town big key. We'll be getting his mitts shortly.
His mitts and everything else.
Yeah, that's true. The Pod Big. Those are the two big things he found.
So this other Pod Small at this point can be basically anywhere.
Yeah, outside of GT.
Outside of GT. And it basically doesn't matter where it is, because we don't need it. Because both runners have proven that they are capable of the hammering up.
Yeah, Logic forgetting that he does not yet have the mitts. Just some bombs in the big chest. Now off to what we came here for.
A crystal is what we came here for.
Yeah, one of our 5/6 crystals.
So, Chat and I have determined that we need exactly 3 or 4 items to hit go mode in this seed. And that would be medallion or medallions to access our medallion dungeons, a red cane, and the TR big key.
Yeah, and that means that only 2 of those things could possibly be in Turtle Rock. And that would be the Mire medallion and the TR big. And only 3 of them could be in Mire. So, yeah, I think we've narrowed down.
It's also worth noting that logically we also need Ice Palace keys. But
yeah,
we don't need Ice Palace keys.
Yeah, we've found both small keys, which is very nice for routing, especially if we don't find the red cane before ice. But I think you hold off a little bit on ice until you find either the big key or the cane. I don't think you wait very long after finding either of those things to clear it out. Yeah, you don't hold out to do icebreaker if you can get all the checks in there, and you don't hold out to get the big chest if you can get all but one of the checks fast.
Silver arrows make this fight so easy.
Yeah, phase 2 is a walk in the park with one silver arrow as long as you can hit it. And so no more progression on Helma, not surprising. But yeah, now Shkoople's got options. He can head to Mire area and find out what's needed there. He could head to Dark Death Mountain, find out what's needed for Turtle Rock. I wouldn't be surprised to see him head to Dark Death Mountain and maybe clean up that spike cave that might be weighing on him a little bit. But no, Mire first. There's not really a wrong choice here. These are a couple quick checks. He'll be off to the next place right after that. Mire Shed, get info. Quake needed for Misery Mire. Our single arrow.
With us needing a medallion to even get in, I imagine we'll be seeing a trip to the mountain next.
Yeah, I think missing both the big key and Cane of Samaria, I don't think Ice Palace is a very appealing play in comparison to the quick density of Dark Death Mountain right now. And it's certainly, either of them are better than... that might be Shkoople getting... Magic Bat first. That's completely reasonable. If this is the TR Big Key, for example, Shkoople can just... Well, okay. The cane...
If this is
the cane,
yeah.
I think Shkoople would rather see Samaria than TR Big here.
It would be funny if the save scum to get Mushroom is pointless when the powder has the cane.
Yeah.
That would be amazing.
It would also be amazing if this were the Skullwoods Big Key, just to put a stop around this whole area. But no, it's just 10 arrows. So now the Skullwoods Big Chest stands alone in the Village of Outcasts area for Shkoople. We've seen it be a pivotal location in a couple of races this week. So we'll have to see if that comes into play again.
At least Skullwood's Big Key chest is easier to get to than Thieves.
Very true. Starting with Spike Cave. No bottles this time, though he does have the bug net. And we might see him.
He's actually going up.
I'll be honest, I don't know why he's going this way. Maybe he thought about doing Spike Cave and realized that he's killed Ega, so he can't just save and quit, and didn't, like, without any magic refills, he can't effectively go across.
Spiral.
I mean, Spiral's faster from the other direction anyway, I think. But yeah, I think he was
for it.
I think he was thinking about doing Spike Cave, but thought better of it with what he has in his bottles and the invincibility item he has with no half magic. Oh, finally getting his bug net. Oh, CJ pointing out in chat that he just gave up on the hookshot side because he dead rocked himself, which...
That's completely understandable then.
Makes sense. Probably lost more time than he gained, but at least he was moving the whole time.
Again, thank you to chat for pointing out what we miss. It's kind of funny that the only items we're missing on our tracker are the 3 medallions and the 2 canes.
Yeah, that's true. Minus the keys, of course, but
yes,
they don't count.
Missing swords, but for our nice, beautiful lineup, those are all we're missing. All right, how many medallions do we need? Do we need 1 or 2?
2.
We need a Bombos, we need a Quake, we need a Red Cane, and we need a TR Big.
So we are down to 5 chances, I think, for Ice Palace Big Chest to not get orphaned, because I think that is the only destination for Shkoople after this. We got the 4 checks in here, and he's going to take another crack at Spike Cave, I think.
Money and heart pieces.
Nice, nice bugnet dash to guarantee the fairy catch.
I didn't even know that was possible.
I had heard it was possible, and I always forget and never do it. Really heads up.
Two fairy. That's a lucky drop for getting both fairy.
Yeah.
That means we are definitely going to be seeing what's in this cave.
Yeah, I don't think Shkoople can mess up badly enough to use 2 fairies and still die.
He's not even bothering with the cape.
I don't think I would either. The magic is a lot less convenient to get back than the health. Especially when you're going to Ice Palace next. Yep. And there's Arcane. So,
well, that ended perfectly for him, didn't it? Oh, he's holding the magic to... He was trying to hold magic to...
Just save and quit. Just save and quit. Okay, yeah.
Was trying to
you have nothing else on the mountain. It's not going to do you any good. Well, that is quite a find, especially right before we go to Ice Palace. Because I do not think that there are any other locations. I guess we'll fill up on... We'll get a blue. We'll only use 1 fairy. But yeah, that's what we have left here, and Logic's gonna be right behind. If it weren't for that Eastern Big Key, I guess Logic has not made his way back to Pod yet.
Yeah, it is worth he might be waiting for that Eastern Palace Big Key to show up.
Yeah, and he might be waiting on that to show up. Might be waiting on Pod till that. Might be waiting on going back to Zelda's cell until he might be able to turn in Pyramid Fairy, and none of those are very likely. So this that early game error on an out of logic check, no less, is looking like it could cost Logic. Ooh,
Ice Palace already being generous.
Yeah, not progression, but certainly worth
it's not
having.
Progression, but it's not going to be complained about.
Now, since we don't have the Ice Palace Big Key, Shkoople's going back and hitting the switch to make sure he can get to Cold Stare. This is about a year-old tech that revolutionized Ice Palace and its routing and how people prioritize it. Makes you able to get all the checks on your way through the dungeon minus iced tea, rather than having to route awkwardly out of your way to get them. And there's Bombos. So that is a full asterisk clearable TR. In 80 keys, you always assume that there is a TR small. Okay, never mind.
Okay, but let's make that a full clearable one, shall we?
Okay, full clearable. I was going to say you assume there's a TR small in TR until proven otherwise, but it was just proven otherwise, so.
The speed with which it decided to prove itself.
This seed has been absurdly linear so far. There's, you have one or two choices at any given point, and they both, fizzle out really quickly, and you're ferried along to the next.
The first time it truly opened up was when we got those mints.
And yeah, and that opening didn't last very long. Got bottlenecked straight into Ice Palace. Fortunately, with the Cane of Samaria.
And now we're pretty much going straight to Turtle Rock next.
Unless the Ice Palace Big Key is in this chest, this is a logically required, guaranteed double dip of Ice Palace, since there are no checks anywhere else.
Logically required and non-logically ignored.
Yeah, if there's something in that Ice Palace Big chest, Shkoople will probably get to that about the same time Logic gets to the Eastern Big Key.
Is anyone else hoping for Quake to be there?
I mean, it would certainly make the seed last a little longer. We're making real quick progress, and there is a clear picture of where to go next. This may be a logically required... Well, okay. Backtrack on that full clear TR. We're still missing that big key. So, unless that's in Turtle Rock, that is also going to be a double dip.
I mean, we're running out of places it could be.
Yeah, I think it's most likely, just by number of checks, that the TR Big Key, or the Mire Medallion, Quake is in Turtle Rock. And we'll see the TR Bigs in Quake, in Mire, or somewhere behind it, in Pyramid Fairy, for instance. But,
well, we're going to find out shortly, because we are going up to Turtle Rock.
Yep. So we can get everything up through Mimic Cave, including Lava Chest. With all 4 TR Smalls, there is no danger of orphaning anything, or running out of keys, or needing to go search for another, because there are no more.
There's been a strange number of 80 key seeds that I've seen that practically route themselves.
Yeah, full clearing can tend to do that eventually, because you just are out of places that you can do things, or there's always a clear best option. In this case, Turtle Rock is the only place, but like prior to that, Ice Palace was a really attractive proposition once we got the Red Cane, even if there had been, Logic chose Ice Palace over Pod because, there's 2 checks in Pod that he can do. He can get everything except the big chest in Ice, and he has the cane,
I'm assuming we're having a few technical difficulties from Logic's stream. And there it is.
Yeah, hopefully that'll be back quick. Meanwhile, we'll follow Shkoople in his hopeful clear of TR. Hopefully we run into the big key somewhere before Mimic Cave.
I mean, I'd be okay with it in Mimic Cave.
Yeah, that's that would definitely be kind of a roller coaster. The question is, if you get something solid in the first couple checks, do you bail? Like if you get Quake, I mean, I guess would be the only other thing. Do you bail? Oh, Skullwood's big.
Don't do this to us, game. What's funny is they can do it again with Ice Palace.
Yeah. Now, interestingly, I think we could see Shkoople head back to Skullwood's big. You know, if he, I think he'll full clear Mire if we find Quake here. But I guess if he doesn't find Quake, Skullwood's big is his only option. But if he got Ice Palace big out of Skullwood's big, I think he would still try to find anything else he could do to put off going back to it.
He's kind of running out of places to go otherwise.
Yeah, this has not been a seed that you could take very many gambles. As we see, Logic presumably successful in Ice Palace. Nice.
Good to see them back off their screen back online. As someone who plays on relatively poor internet, I'm not going to complain about the occasional stream sputter. What is Shkoople's sprite where the bunny sprite is Link? Oh, it's Fierce Deity.
Fierce Deity, yep. I've never known him to use anything else, actually. That sprite actually just got a little revamp. It seems to be a little more styled after the Parallel Worlds style, which is a little more in line with the Ocarina of Time, the Zelda 64 design.
I think we have one check left in TR. We can get that check being Mimic Cave.
That is correct.
So we're hoping that Mimic Cave has something substantial. Otherwise, we're going to Skullwoods.
Yep. Here it comes. And there's Quake. I am sure Shkoople is happy as all get out to see that.
That is the second. The item I will want to see second of the group.
Yeah, I think TR Big would have been preferable just because then you singled it.
Hold on. Shkoople has TR Big.
Wait, he does?
TR Big was on Armos Knights.
Oh, Lord. I missed that.
I just remembered that. And Shkoople's got some technical difficulties now. So, yeah. So
that's go mode for Shkoople.
Logic. That Quake is go mode. I forgot about that. I'm sorry, chat.
I totally missed what was on Armos.
Oh, the pause right now is Amarith is syncing the runners back up for us. Thank you to our restreamer Amarith. So, yeah. Armos dropped a big key way back when Shkoople started there. And I only just remembered this.
So Logic is quite behind. But he is getting bailed out in exactly the right way. He now, after the TR play, he will have a full clearable Pod and Mire. Unfortunately, he will full clear Mire. It's a question of whether he. Well, I think he'll probably go to Pyramid Fairy next, and then it's a question of whether he checks that. But I think by the time he gets there, he'll be so low on checks that I don't think he's going to have any choice.
the question of the day is, where's the Hyrule Castle small key to put this all in logic?
Yeah, that's what I want to know. It's got to be in Mire. It has to. Like, actually has to.
Or the Skullwood's big chest.
Or Skullwood's big chest. That's true. It can't be here, obviously.
I don't think anything major could be here, but you check this here for a sword.
Yeah.
That one.
And you get one. Yeah, Shkoople has so little left that he knows there's way more there's as likely to be a sword here as there is in Mire, and he'd rather check Laser Bridge than full clear Mire.
I mean, do you want to do Master Sword or Hammer Trian X over Tempered?
Not enough to not check Laser Bridge, that's for sure. And yeah, to answer the question in chat, the decision that Logic's made to abandon it makes perfect sense. Zelda's Cell so rarely has anything of value, precisely because it is locked by the Hyrule Castle small key, which we haven't seen yet, and we've full cleared basically everything available. If you take a death there, you just say that's last location now, and it was the correct decision, but the wrong one for the seed. As Shkoople gets his 6th crystal, he will just have to head to Vidi. Those Mire Smalls he has, or has he found any? It doesn't matter, because he's just going straight to Vidi.
He's found at least one. I know that.
Yeah, the Hyrule Castle Small does have to be in Mire or behind it, because it can't be deeper in TR, because everything that Logic isn't going to do in TR is behind that. It could be Skullwood's Big, behind Skullwood's Big, or behind something in Mire. I think we have the Ice Palace big key that it could still be in that chest, but
when Logic is clearing this Ice Palace, this Mire, we are going to be watching for him to pick up the big key and have it be Ice Palace. And it's going to be funny to us, but it's not going to be that funny to him.
Yeah, both of those keys have to be... The Hyrule Castle Small and Ice Palace Big are the last pieces of the puzzle for us. We're missing one GT Small, but that could be anywhere in GT as well. That's not much of a mystery. And Logic realizes he's done here.
So yeah, with that Quake find, it was like 5 minutes ago. We hit go mode in hour 42 in an 80 keys seed. That's pretty good.
With Agate 1 already done, we hit go mode in an already clearable dungeon.
And for once, our go mode was not an Agate Tower key.
Yeah, I said it once all the usual culprits were found, was we're likely to be looking for a pendant big key, which, with Mitts behind Ped, that wasn't going to happen, or a medallion, because those are the things that lock the least other checks. And we are going to see the difference in clear times between a full clear and a go mode Key Sanity Mire. Between Shkoople and Logic here, unfortunately.
And Vitreous is down, because this fight's easy. There it is.
There it is. If Shkoople's paying attention, he is definitely laughing to himself right now, realizing that his TR clear was behind that.
Logically, by the way, we're still missing a pod key, too.
Yeah.
It's always fun to look at the logic side of things. Because key
Again,
logic,
that could be anywhere, but
it could be that last check in TR for one.
yeah, that's true.
And now Shkoople will be going to visit the mountain for the last time. And these dead rocks are awful today.
Yeah, I think Shkoople realized that going the long way up the mountain was not faster than waiting for the dead rock. As he chose not to do it again.
I mean,
but he is done with them. He is taking this portal.
Again, the other time he did, he at least could have used the excuse that he could check Spike Cave on the way back down.
So Logic is going to find his Ice Palace Big Key, probably not in these two checks, because coming to Mire this late in an 80 keys, I wouldn't check these chests, honestly, until I found at least one more Mire Small. When you have that much cleared and only one small, like, those chests aren't going to have anything in Logic, because it is virtually guaranteed, even from Logic's point of view at this point, that at least one of the Mire Smalls is in GT. And he's in GT mode.
That's the thing. Those keys can be in GT, even though it's a crystal dungeon. Because key logic for Vitreous is big key.
Yep. Good that he's not checking cutscene chest, and if he's smart about it, he should skip it altogether. But yeah, so this...
checking the...
the compass
chest. Even with the fact that he gets to it, it's a quick enough check.
And you do want to hit that switch to make routing the rest of the dungeon, and particularly this chest, a little easier.
I mean, this chest is impossible without it, for one.
Well, yeah. Oh, did he not have a small? If he went and sold that one? Or did he just route it like non-keys?
I don't actually know if he had a small.
I didn't catch the Ice Palace Big Key in any of those checks, so I think that means the Ice Palace Big Key is in Skullwood's big chest. Did we get...
It could also be bottom check of Laser Bridge.
That's true.
The Ice Palace... The only check that had to show up here was Hyrule Castle.
Yep. I think... Yeah, one of those... The last chest on Laser Bridge and Skullwood's big... Unless I missed a pod small... have to either... Yeah, I think those are the last pod small and Ice Palace big. I think we solved the riddle. Oh no, we have Pyramid Fairy. Never mind. There's a couple more places. Pod small can't be Pyramid Fairy, so pod small has to be one of those two. But
pod small could also be Ice Palace big, unless Ice Palace big is in Pyramid Fairy.
Yeah.
I think we're looking too deeply into this vortex.
Well, I mean, at this point in the seed, there's not much left to look at. As Shkoople has a nice Landmo too, and Logic is having a nice misses an arrow to... I jinxed it. I'm sorry, Logic. That was my fault. It was all going so well until I said anything.
A little bit of... The movements look just erratic enough. It may have been a D-pad issue too.
And if Logic is paying attention to the logic, he knows exactly how deep of doo-doo he is in there.
Nice torches one from Shkoople.
But yeah, if Logic does anything but beat Helma and go straight to Pyramid Fairy after this, I would be surprised. Shkoople is going to finish this AD Key Sanity seed with 12 hearts, which is... He is also going to... Okay. Moldorm and Shkoople are not friends today.
Moldorm 2, Shkoople 1.
I was going to say he was either going to fall or enrage Moldorm there, neither of which would count as a win. And there it goes. Second try is the charm.
They are now evenly matched at 2 and 2. If I had made these jokes and wasn't as the runner and was not in a race, I'd have intentionally fallen off and taken them on a third time to break the tie.
Yeah, because an unforced error is not a point in Moldorm's favor. Good thinking, Zeke.
Aga 2 is lining up in a fairly nice way today for his geometry lessons. Was that a double or a six, do you think?
We won't know until it's over. I didn't see the first...
Doesn't matter. I think that was a double.
Yep.
So... Good Aga 2 from Shkoople.
And yeah, with Tempered and Silvers, I think we'll see Shkoople coming in under 2 hours here. I don't think
it would take a Ganon Death or a Ganon Fall to go over 2 hours here.
Yeah.
So it is unfortunate for Logic that the Eastern Big Key is where it was, and the TR Big Key is where it was following that.
Yeah, I think that combination of two things is making this look way less competitive than it could have been. But really great race by both runners. And Logic, sniffing out the same chain Shkoople was on. They were in the same dungeon a lot of the time, with that, even with that deficit, Logic was heading to all the right places.
Ganon phase 2 being a little mean to Shkoople, so he had to take a second cycle.
Got his silver arrows out.
So our tracker did correct us that neither runner had picked up Mire Small.
That was a close call.
Was it? Did it look like a hug to you for a second?
It sure looked like it could have been. Shkoople taking his time here, though. I'm going to get the last silver hit in. And that is Shkoople taking down Ganon. Get
now,
your GGs in chat.
Across the bridge. Which I believe he will, because I haven't seen anybody fall in a while. And GG to Shkoople, who has joined us in the booth for an interview. The GG Shkoople.
Thank you.
Thoughts on the seed, first off?
It felt awkward at a lot of points. And then the Spike Cave finding Red Cane there made me feel really behind, so I was a bit scared. But I'm glad I did not skip Laser Bridge like I wanted to.
Yeah, that sword was definitely nice to finish out the game with.
Yeah, the Spike Cave thing, I guess I did something wrong. I don't know what happened to my pushing there.
I think you were just... I think it had already decided that it was going to start the kill sequence. The only thing I can think of is that it hadn't taken away input from you yet, but it had already decided you were dead.
Yeah, it was a bit weird.
Yeah, quite unfortunate, but not really too impactful since you still found that before you really needed it and ran out of other stuff to do.
Yeah, there were certain parts of the seed that felt like they just flowed together so well. Like the whole Thieves Town sequence from Pen after Desert was just really nice.
Mhm.
The required Aga Ped seed was amazing.
It's pretty cool.
For vanilla mitts following that.
Yeah, it was really cool actually, the way the seed turned out, but it just felt awkward for most of it to me.
Yeah, I was wondering if you were following any of the key logic, as far as the double required dip of TR in logic, because you had to go get Quake from TR to go kill Vidi to get your Hyrule Castle Small to go get your Eastern Big to get your TR Big off Armos.
Oh
And
no,
that
dude, I
was-
just clear green boxes.
Yeah. Also, the key on Lake Hylia Island was we were pretty sure that was the last Skullwood Small since that was the
Logic
last
did pick that up. So
last Mitzlock thing. Okay, so I think Logic is about to go back to Zelda Cell. I hope. Yeah, he died. So he went to Eastern before going back to the castle because he started with an Uncle route. He already had the hook shot. And but he was setting up a death warp and did it a little too early. I think he took too much damage and died, and just decided to orphan it and do Aga instead, which was inconsequential for 90% of the seed. But
Yeah,
when
I
it
was
came
so
down to the
surprised by
wire.
the bow in the Eastern as well.
the best part of the TR Big is that everybody forgot that you picked it up, except until you went through the door.
Yeah,
We legitimately thought you still had to find a TR Big.
I don't know where that was, but yeah, I picked it up early, I want to say.
It was on the
Yeah,
Armor Knights.
so yeah,
Oh, okay.
so Logic dipped to Meyer, full cleared Meyer, and is now about to get the Eastern Big. He put off the pod clear for a really long time, waiting for that Eastern Big key, with only 2 checks left. But
Yeah, that makes a lot of sense. If the TR Big is on Armos Knights and you miss that Eastern, this could go pretty south.
yeah, he would have. It wouldn't have turned out too badly otherwise, I think, because he would have. He would have had it right after the mitts. That pod big and blind cell. He could have gone back to it and just comboed them, and it would have been a pretty short double dip. But he just, yeah, unfortunate how it turned out. I think you were still ahead when that happened, but yeah. We see Logic heading back to Eastern, going to get his TR Big and enter Go mode. So yeah, this was our team's first match this week. Nice to get the win. I have to admit that I was pulling a little for Logic because I want to have more wins than you, but still happy you came away with it.
I mean, I would think you'd be happy to have the win for the playoff berth chance.
Nah.
Yeah, it's all about personal competition.
Personal bragging rights. As the one who's not on a team involved here, GG to Shkoople. It was a good race nonetheless. Even if working with your team meant that he was poking fun at you a lot.
I hope he was.
That's why I need to be here to poke fun at Logic for us.
Yeah, Logic had a cleaner water dash on the way to the dam. Just NBD, but just so you know.
Oh.
But yeah, very well played. You made a lot of, there were a lot of good decisions to be made, and the seed routed it itself for the most part. You got funneled into one thing after another. Ice Palace was not an attractive play until it was the only thing left, and you got Kane in the check before it was the only thing left, so that worked out pretty nicely.
Yeah, at that point it felt like I had missed something, so I was kind of just putting Ice Palace off because I knew only parts of it were going to be actually in logic, which usually I don't care about, but I was trying not to orphan things in this one.
Yeah. The seed was pretty generous, and you were guaranteed to find the Thieves Town small before you found the big, because you needed the desert big key right next to it to get the big key, stuff like that.
And it's a good thing you were guaranteed to find it before then, because you would have had to go back anyways.
Yeah, those mitts were cute.
French vanilla bow and vanilla mitts. This game loves its vanilla locations, doesn't it?
And Aga for Dark World and Ped required. Kind of a
Yeah,
vanilla seed. In a way.
Pretty much. Yeah, you didn't finish with TR, but can't win them all. And there is Logic's TR big key. I'm sure he knew that he was in trouble when that he saw that Zelda's cell was his literal last location, other than Skullwood's big. But fun fact, we're almost positive, given Logic's full clear of Mire, that Ice Palace big or the last pod small. Actually, I think it has to be Ice Palace big key in Skullwood's big chest.
And welcome Logic to the booth ahead of their finish.
GG Logic.
What was it?
I mean, it. We kind of knew how big a trouble you were in really early. Shkoople, you were ahead of Shkoople into Eastern, but he had just gone to Hyrule Castle and gotten that big key. So we knew, like, you're going to be leaving the big chest. Oh, bummer. And then you pulled the bow and things got worse. We, chat nor us noticed, because we were, all focused on that skip at that point, that what Shkoople picked up off of Armos Knights was that TR big key.
Yeah. So I didn't think... I normally, in a situation like that, I'd go back and check Zelda's cell just to be thorough, because I tend to play really thorough. But in Keysanity, those chests, the map chest, or it's the boomerang chest and Zelda's cell are out of logic unless you have you have the Hyrule Castle key, or unless that's wherever that is. They're not in logic until that's around whatever. So I was thinking, okay, well, that could be super deep in logic. I'm not going to worry about it now. Maybe it'll come up later. It's probably whatever, buried somewhere. It could be in GT for all I know. And so there's probably just a piece of heart in there or whatever, because that's usually what's in there. And I usually end up just wasting time when I go get it. And so, of course, this is the seed where it's critical progression.
Yeah, no, it was absolutely the right choice to bail there. You had both Castle Tower smalls with neither of those chests checked yet. You had, a decent portion of pod with that bow and the two keys you had. It's just unfortunate that it came down to that.
I knew it was an Aga seed really early, and things just kept getting worse and worse and worse. And then, I started laughing hysterically when I got the third pendant, and I really was just like, oh, you gotta be kidding me. And then I got the TR big key off the pen, and I was like, or not the TR big key, the Thieves Town big key, and I was just like, come on.
Yeah, you guys were relatively close throughout most of the seed, but there was just that looming knowledge that because Shkoople went back, cleared pod, had Eastern done already, but so you were trying to combo those together, and you could have done it actually in pretty short order, even if you were putting it off for a while. You could have waited to combo them. If you had gotten that Eastern Big Key right after your Eastern dip, it would have really sucked, but you could have easily waited until you went back to until you could clear pod to clear it.
In my mind, the way the map shaped up, I was thinking, okay, well, I'll go do, I have Misery Mire now, so I can go do that. I can go do pod, then I can go do Pyramid Fairy, and then I can check whatever's in Zelda's Cell. So that's how it all ended up working out. And that turned out to be the Eastern Big Key. And it's just like...
Right. And I kind of figured, and I said something early in the broadcast, that like that would be your next chance to, but with, when it started looking like the last things that Shkoople would be needing for Go Mode were the Mire Medallion and, things that... It was going to be a long time before you got back to checking that Pyramid Fairy. And so it was...
Yeah, it was that Eastern Big Key. I knew I lost once I saw where that was, and it was pretty much around then I minimized OBS and checked the room and saw that Shkoople had finished a little while ago, and so I was at that point I was like, wow, I decided I was pretty much going to finish out or at least play until the broadcast caught up, and you're going to see me die on Trinex here in a minute, and that's about around when I forfeited.
Fun fact, that Trinex fight is happening right now.
Yeah, I'm watching it. Just like I was distraught. Actually, this seed kind of broke me throughout a lot of it. I was just like, why is this happening to me?
Given how the seed went, that's understandable.
Well, having to do Aga into pod into swamp was actually my piloted Key Sanity with TJ. That was the progression there. So it was the same thing, and I was not super happy with that.
Oof.
That is not
unfortunate
a fun way to die. That ice floor is awful.
Yeah, I was barely paying attention at this point. I knew I lost, and you don't go to that side of the room when there's an ice floor there. It's just
you'd be unhappy to hear there was a tempered sword on Laser Bridge. It was the last check Shkoople did actually.
I mean, if I still thought I could win, I might have gone and checked that. Because,
yeah.
Like Master Sword Ganon is just not fun.
So, do you have any other thoughts, Logic?
Why?
On this seed?
I can't even blame anyone else because I rolled the seed.
No, I mean you played well. You made the right choices for the situations you were in. I was honestly pulling for you to skip Catfish. With the overworld death you took. Just maybe cut a corner here or there, but you kept it as close as it could be kept with a skip that blew up that hard, which happens to everybody. It's been happening to me a lot lately, so I'm keeping my fingers crossed for tomorrow.
Yeah, I'm really sad I lost this one, but it is what it is, and I didn't really expect that we would make the playoffs anyway. So even the fact that we're doing as good as we are in League is a surprise to me.
So looking at our schedule here, we do have a race going on over on the Links of Past Randomizer League Channel 2, which is the Long Shots versus Will Pulphead for Food, which is Tyler Salt versus the Boulder. And we have a couple of other streams, a couple of other races tonight, not being streamed, but you can look for the runners easily enough. And over for the Invitational League, we look like we have a race going on Speed Gaming 4. That is Waffle House Drive-Thru versus CLW, Matt 7898 versus Nabs. Are there any other things of note? that we can think of, Vortex?
Just that game 2 between these two teams is tomorrow at 1 Eastern, 1:10. That'll be myself and TJ Joel. Should be another good match, I hope. I'll be honest that while I was rooting for you here to keep my record better than Shkoople's in the league, I will be rooting for myself tomorrow.
Well, I would hope so. You know, I'm rooting for TJ, but I don't.
I expect nothing less.
With this new information, I might be rooting for TJ.
Uh-oh. I do want to say GG Shkoople. That was a good game. It's real. I'm mad at myself more than anything else, and also that seed for being just complete garbage.
Yeah, the seed felt really awkward, and not skipping, but missing out on that Eastern big is just no fun.
Yeah. It made so little difference for so much of the seed, but when you found out that Mire Medallion would be in TR because we were all out of other locations at that point, it just it became clear that there was no path back. But
was the Mire Medallion in the TR big chest, if I'm remembering right?
It was Mimic Cave.
It was in
Mimic.
Okay.
Yeah, because it.
Yeah, so I went into. It was a logically required double dip into TR to get the Mire Medallion, and then go out and do a whole bunch of other stuff, and then go back to TR because I don't know, randomizer.
Yeah, logically required double dip of ice for this. You needed the Skullwoods big to get the big key. I think that's where it had to be. And you needed the TR medallion, and then logically required double dip of Eastern, logically required double dip of Pod, logically required double dip of a lot of things. So,
I mean, that's key sanity,
Yeah. Definitely. But yeah.
How many times can you cut down the double dips?
Normally, that's what I like about Key Sanity is that you get a lot of routing options, usually, but that seed was super linear, and I hated it.
There were not a lot of opportunities for divergence. The only one was which batch of MITS checks are you going to do first? After the Sphere 1, which order are you going to full clear the overworld in? But yeah, that should do it for this stream. I think we're probably going to head over to the ALTTPR League 2 for that match, but I don't think we have anything else here. GG's again to both runners.
Give both runners
good luck. Yeah, they put on a great race. Give our tracker Iker a follow, our streamer Amerith. And yeah, I think only thing I can say is good luck next week. I think you said you're not going to be playing next week, but I know Shkoople is, and we need all the luck we can get with this co-op enemizer thing. So yeah, GG's again. Thanks everyone for watching, and have a great rest of your evening or morning or whatever, wherever you are.
Have a good evening.